Good afternoon and welcome to the July Forum for Benefit Administrators at state agencies and decentralized localities. My name is Jolene Christensen and I will be your facilitator today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Our webinar today is scheduled from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and we have a lot to cover. We use forums to accentuate processes, cover new and updated functionality, highlight areas to improve your understanding, and answer questions. Forums do not take the place of training, and if you have not had an opportunity to take your role-based training, we encourage you to sign up. We have an upcoming class in August for benefit administrators. Contact the Cardinal Learning mailbox for details and make sure you complete your prerequisite training. Now let's head to our very full agenda today, as we have a lot of content to cover. First, we will cover some new event class changes. The next topic, and something that we mentioned in June, is there is a new benefits event entry page. We'll dive in deep, receive a demo on that. So first, Jill's going to review some slides, some screenshots of those pages, and then we'll get that demo from her. Next, we'll go over a new error message related to FSA fee, and Jill will cover that content as well. We'll do a feature report today. We're going to dive in deep for the FSA and admin fee error query and how you would use that to identify users who do not have the FSA fee associated with their healthcare FSA. We'll talk a little bit about upcoming changes and enhancements. We'll have an opportunity to address any additional questions and answers that haven't been addressed already. We'll talk about the next steps associated with the new benefits event entry page, and then we'll do a final wrap-up. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our benefits team member, Jill, to talk us through the exciting things that we have to present to you today. Jill?
All right, thanks, Jolene. Today we are going to talk about some changes that we're making to event classes. So first of all, for BAs that might be new to the Cardinal system, what are event classes? So event classes, they're basically a code used in Cardinal to indicate the type of benefit event that you're working with. It's automatically populated in the new benefit event entry page, and there's been several additions and changes to the values. A summary, we've created a job aid, a summary of all event classes that can be found on the Cardinal website on Monday, July 17th. But here's a sample of what that document's going to look like. All right, so what has changed? First of all, we are adding new event classes to the system, and you'll notice some of these are going to look familiar because they are pretty much directly the same events that you had in BAS that you don't have in Cardinal now. So we have added AEX, which is the add dependent to existing family coverage. You might use this to add a baby back to its date of birth. You might use it to add an existing qualified dependent to a plan where you already have family coverage. We have a covered child lost eligibility, and you might use this for various reasons, but one of which would be perhaps a stepchild that has moved out of the home, or maybe a court-ordered dependent who has gotten married. So you would use that CLE event for that. The FSA change, that is an administrative code that we're using for just making FSA changes only. We have the LOC, which is a move affecting eligibility for healthcare plan. Some of our colleges have a lot of dependents that are perhaps maybe coming into the country or leaving the country. You would use that LOC for that, as well as for dependents that move out of the HMO coverage area. We have OOE, which is other employers' open enrollment or plan change. So you might use that if someone is perhaps moving their coverage to the local choice plans in October, or maybe they have a January open enrollment, their spouse does, and they're making changes. The MKT, that's pretty self-explanatory, but if you have somebody in a qualified marketplace exchange plan, you would use it for that. We have our part-time to full-time and then our full-time to part-time event classes, which would work very similar to the way they used to work in BAS. We're making some changes to existing event classes now. So LOA, begin leave without pay, that is now being turned into a manual event class. So BAs will be able to directly create LOA events when they need to make changes to an employee's benefits for the reason of a leave without pay. And we have the same return from leave, which would be manual as well. And that is something that BAs can use to change plans, of course, following the rules when they return from leave. We have the STC event. Now, this is something that is a job-related event, nothing that you would enter, but when someone changes from a full-time to a part-time plan, you'll use this event to end the coverage. So the employee, of course, lots of times they don't want to continue that coverage as a part-time employee because of the cost associated. And then lastly, we have the FSC. And now the FSC is an administrative code that BAs are using today, but there is some confusion about what it was used for. And some folks thought that because it said family status change in the description, you could only use it to change family coverage. So we're just changing the description so that it is more generic, and you also know that it is for use for BA use only, so benefit administrator use only. Now, some of you might have been directed in the past to use a BEN event, a BEN event, and what we're asking from Monday forward, we are going to exclusively be having BAs use the events from the tool, and we do not want you to use the BEN event anymore. That is going to be exclusively for OHB use only. So let's move forward. The benefit event page, which hopefully is going to make your life much smoother and easier. Basically what it does is it simplifies the creation of benefit events for you. It replaces two things: the life event tool, which is that spreadsheet you've been using to calculate the correct event date, and the BAS activity table where you go to create those events. So what the new page will do is it captures all your life event detail, which is your event date, your paperwork receipt date, what the employee had before the coverage change was made, what they have after the coverage change is made, the type of benefit change you're making. It calculates the correct benefit event dates for you. It automatically selects the benefit class, so whether it's a birth or a marriage or a divorce, you don't have to think about that anymore. It creates all the benefit events for you as well. So without further ado, let's get into the actual tool. So this is a navigation for the tool. It's in a very similar spot to the on-demand event maintenance page. So you go to benefits, manage automated enrollment, events, and then benefit event entry, or benefit event right now. So basically, it'll bring you to this page where you'll have to put in an employee ID. Now, once you hit the employee ID and you click on the search button, you are going to find yourself in a page that looks just like this. This is our life event detail page, and you can see here that there's really basically three different sections to this. There's the basic life event information, which is the type of life event that you have here, which this is a drop down. You have your life event date, so that's going to be your birth date, your marriage date, your divorce date, your loss of coverage date, and then the paperwork receipt date. That's the day that you were obviously handed that paperwork, you were in receipt of it. Now, the next section is what I call the changes section. This is where you're indicating to the tool what kind of change you're making. And these drop downs here, health change needed, that's a yes or no answer. Once you select yes under health change needed, these two fields are activated and it automatically populates the employee's current coverage level, and you select what the coverage level will be after you make your change. And then after that, there's a change section which gives further detail of the type of change that you're making. And I will show you those drop downs in a minute. And then the next box is the FSA change. This is again a yes or no, whether you're making an FSA change that is needed and the type of change you're making. Now you're going to notice that not all options are here under the change for both of these things. The change section should only really allow you to do what, as far as OHB rules indicate, it should only allow you to do those things. Now, once you've filled these two sections out, you're going to hit the save button. And once you've hit the save button, these, if necessary, there will be special processing messages for you. Sometimes the special processing message is informational. It might just tell you that for a birth event, you need to get a copy of the birth certificate. It might tell you, what type of event was created. So you need to go to the on-demand page and enroll in that event. So you want to always take a look at these special processing messages because it'll tell you what your next steps are. Okay, moving on. So now we're going to go into our demo where I actually show you the page. Let me quickly get situated in my demo. One moment, please.
While you're logging in, Jill, I'm going to go ahead and ask a question out loud. And we have OHB in the room today, so I'm kind of looking to them. It's about the paperwork receipt deadline. Does this refer to health election form receipt date or documentation for the event? Sometimes people bring this information in after submitting their election form. All right, so
it's the date that the agency receives the enrollment form, the enrollment request.
All right, so Sharon says it is the date that the agency receives the enrollment request. So I hope this answered your question. All right, Jill, looks like you are in one of our test environments.
I am. Yeah, we are in our testing environment, and just before we bring anybody up, I just want to let you know that all of the personal data has been scrambled today. So we will be looking at people's information, but it will not be their information. All right. So let's first just go to the page. I'm going to navigate to it as you would. So I'm going to click on the navigator and go down to menu. And I am going to start at the root. I'm going to go to benefits, manage automated enrollment, events, and then benefit event. I'm going to click on that. And you can see here that the page looks very similar to what I showed you in the presentation. I'm going to pop an ID in that I have here. Okay, and we have Barbara Burgess. And so first, let's go through the drop downs really quick so that you can see what type of events life events there are. So I'm going to drop down. You'll see we have add to existing family membership, begin leave without pay, birth adoption, covered child lost eligibility, death of a child, death of a spouse, dependent care cost coverage change, divorce, employer dependent gained eligibility for Medicare, for other employers' insurance. They lost eligibility for Medicare, Medicaid. They lost eligibility for other employers' insurance. Then we have our employment change, salary part-time to full-time, employment in marketplace exchange plan, marriage, move affecting eligibility, other employers' OE plans, and then we also have a full-time to part-time change. Now, for our purposes today, we're going to demo a birth event, and let's go through a few of the things first. So I'm going to click on birth adoption, and then I can select life event date. Now I am going to select a birth date of June 22nd. And then I'm going to say that my paperwork receipt date was today. Everybody's probably doing the math in their head, wondering what's going to happen with these events. So right now I'm going to choose what I need to do for healthcare. So I'm going to definitely make a change. I'm going to say yes. Now notice when I made that change, it populated the current coverage level of the employee. So they have employee plus spouse coverage. And so I'm going to be adding a baby. So I want to select the current coverage level to be family coverage. Now I go to the change section and I'm going to select what I need to do. Now I can add the new baby. I can add a new child, just indicating for our records that it was an adoption, not a newborn birth. I can enroll or change the health plan or add tag-along dependents. It looks like I have a duplicate there, so I'll be fixing that this weekend. But I'm going to select enroll, change. I'm going to select add a new baby. But I wanted everybody to be aware that if I choose enroll, change health plan, or add a tag-along dependent, that is going to create a different event for me. That's going to create an event that is effective the first of the month in which the baby is born. And I'm going to use that event to do what? I'm going to add the tag-along dependents, and I'm going to change the health plan if necessary. Now, what's important is that I don't add the baby to this. We want to add the baby as of the baby's date of birth. So when you do select to add tag-along or change health plan on a birth, you want to do that first, change the health plan, then come back in here and then do a straight up birth adoption life event and click on add a new baby. So I just want to make sure that everybody's clear that you have those choices now, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just select add a new baby. And then I'm also, because of course babies are super expensive, as we all know, I'm going to say I need a change in FSA. So I want to, of course, for a baby, for a birth, you can either enroll, increase your annual health or dependent care FSA election. So I'm just going to select that. And now I am going to hit save. Now, once I did that, it populated with a nice long message. You know, I like to communicate with people. So, so the first part, this health message, is a birth event has been created on the on-demand event maintenance page to enroll the new child in coverage. Note, if you're adding a tag-along dependent, you must process an FSC event first, which is what I just talked to you about. So if you were adding a tag-along dependent, you want to do a different kind of change first, and that's what that's saying to you. One other thing it mentions, just as a reminder, that when you are adding tag-along dependents or changing health plans, you need, and then doing something else like adding a baby, you always want to do that one day apart, because we want to give the vendor a clear view of what's happening to that employee. So we want to, if you are changing the plan or changing or adding tag-along dependents, we want that to go to the vendor on one day, and then the next day we want you to enter that newborn into the system using a birth event, and then that will go over the following day to the vendor. It just gives them a clear picture of what's happening. All right, and then you notice down here below that it says under FSA, an FSA event was created to make an FSA enrollment update. So now I've given you kind of two conflicting information. It says a birth event was created, but then at the same time it says an FSA event was created. So it's almost as if two events get created, and that's because two events do get created. Let's go to this person's on-demand event maintenance page, and let's see what happened, what it got created here. Now, before I do that, I just want to let you know the dates that I indicated. The baby was born on 6/22, and the paperwork receipt date was 7/13. So let's see what it did on the on-demand page. I'm going to navigate there. I shouldn't have too far to go because it's on the same menu. Yep, so there's the benefit event page, and here's the on-demand event page. So let me pop that ID in. Okay. And of course, I have 3 events. I've been playing with this person. Oh, they had an address change. I picked someone who changed their address. I'm just going to delete that out for purposes of our presentation today. But as you can see, it created an FSA event and it created a birth event. And you're going to see here that on the event date, it selected the correct dates. It left the babies. It's going to add the baby as of the date of birth, which is 6/22. And then because of our paperwork receipt date on the FSA was in the month of July, it's going to make the FSA change effective 8/1. So what I need to do here is I just need to process these events in order. Now, some of you might not go into Cardinal a lot. Maybe you don't have a lot of life events to do at your particular agency, but sometimes there are 2 different events that are out there at the same time. And how you process them in the correct order is you usually use the event date as an indicator. So you want to process the earliest event first, and how you select that for processing is you just use the select button. So I'm going to click on this select right here, and I'm going to hit OK. And as you can see now, I have an action of birth here, and I can schedule that activity. Okay, so once I've scheduled that, you can see here that I come down to this to the on-demand page, and the election entry is ready for me. And you can see here that there's only one option available now, and that is a change to medical. You don't see the FSA, you don't see the fee, you don't see the premium award. On the birth event, the only thing that should be available to you using this tool is the health. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly add somebody here. Hold on, I'm going to go here and here. And let's add a baby. We will say it's Brenda Burgess. And I'm going to hit OK. And under the address, I'm just going to say same as employee. And under the date of birth, I am going to say the date of birth. And then the relationship to employee is child. And since I have the paperwork in front of me, I'm just going to assume that I have all of the paperwork, which would also include that birth certificate. So I'm going to approve the dependent right now. I'm going to say the dependent's gender. And because it's a newborn, I most likely don't have that national ID yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. So now I have, hold on, let me go here to option election. And I am going to Now I'm just going to change the coverage level to family. And I am going to enroll all. And there we are. I have just completed that enrollment. I'm going to click validate and finalize. And we are done with our birth. So again, what I did was I created those events using the benefit event page. And then the benefit event page selected the event dates, selected the type of event that it covers, and then it put those events on the BAS activity table for me. So all I needed to do once I entered all that information in was go to the on-demand page and perform the election entry. All right. Okay, I'm going to switch back. Let me just get out of here and here.
We have a couple of questions, Jill.
Sure,
Is this a good time?
sure.
So there are a couple of questions came in about clarifying what a tag-along dependent means specifically.
So when an employee has certain events, the regulations allow them to add or have other eligible dependents tag along when they are adding the newborn or perhaps a spouse due to a marriage. There's a definition for tag along dependents included in the online health benefits manual. And we'll be sure that that link gets out to everyone when we send the presentation out.
And I'm sure if you have any questions after looking at that definition, write OHB. We've got their email address at the end and the form that you can send in to them. So make sure to take a look at that when we get to that point. We also had a question, can you clarify the difference between lost eligibility and gained eligibility?
Well, so a lost eligibility event would be if for example, a dependent, a spouse, was working and perhaps they were terminated and they lost eligibility on their plan and needed to come on to ours. Same thing for an employee. Perhaps you have an employee that's working for you and also working for a TLC or has some other benefit coverage. Perhaps it's a child that's on their parents' plan somewhere else, so they didn't select coverage, when they were a new hire because they were on their parents' plan, but now they're losing that coverage. That is a lost dependent or employee lost coverage. A gain coverage is the exact opposite. So you have a spouse who maybe is going back into the workforce, they were on our coverage, now they have an option to be on someone else's coverage and are coming off our plan.
Thank you, Jill. One question along that component of the tag-along dependent coverage, will it retro back to the first of the month?
It will, yes. It will automatically create an event that is the first of the month in which the baby was born.
And that's for the tag-along dependent.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And then the second part of that question, so then the other dependent will have coverage before the actual event date of the birth. So I think her question is, the tag-along will have the beginning, so 6/1, for instance, and the baby will have 6/1 or when it was born on 6/22.
Yeah, it will have, as the vendor's website, it will be covered as of 6/22. Now, regulations, obviously, you're going to bill for the entire month's premium if there's a premium change due to that birth. But the coverage at the vendor will be as of the date of birth.
All right, and then you just spoke of premiums. We just got a question in associated with coverage for the premium deduction for the first of the month if the event date of the baby was in the middle of the month. And I would assume that information is in the benefits manual, but is there a cutoff date in the middle? Is it the 15th or no?
We bill for the full, the premiums would be billed for the full month. We don't do prorated premium.
All right, premiums are billed for the full month.
And that's consistent to what we did in the legacy system with BAS.
All right, thank you so much.
One thing I do want to mention, make sure everybody understands, is that, you know, if you are doing a retro change in Cardinal and you're paid in Cardinal, that retro change to those premiums is not an automatic thing. You need to work with your payroll department to make sure that you're capturing those retro premiums when you're going back and making those changes.
One more question, since we had touched on, you know, the eligibility associated with an employee's spouse who might lose their job and they need to be added to the employee's insurance. They received the documents on July 13th, but they lost insurance June 30th. Are we able to override the date?
No.
All right, Sharon, if you couldn't hear that, her answer was no. You cannot. So they can get insurance starting
The first of the month following receipt of the enrollment request.
All right.
So in the situation, in the example, the coverage would start August 1st.
All right, August 1st. Thank you. Back to you, Jill.
Okay. So now that we've discussed that, and it looks like we covered that slide. Let's talk about the medical FSA and the FSA fee enrollment rule. So we are adding to the system a new check when you are enrolling in medical FSA. And that check is going to double check to make sure that you've also enrolled in the fee. So you're going to notice if you forget to enroll in the fee for an employee for the medical FSA, you're going to get this little reminder when you go to enroll them. It's going to say employees cannot enroll in plan type 60 unless also enrolled in, of course, it's people Cardinal talk, but plan type AZ. Plan type AZ is the FSA fee. So basically you can't be enrolled in the FSA without enrolling in the fee. If you do receive the message from the on-demand page, all you need to do is click OK on the message and you can just return right to that election entry box and you can go select the fee and you will be fine. That's how you fix the problem. Now, just so you're aware, when an employee enrolls through self-service on their hire, they're also going to get this message. It actually won't be that plan type AZ. They'll get a more customer focused message saying that they need to also enroll in the FSA fee. All right, and that is going to cut down on our auditing because you know, we're going to discuss in a minute a report, but it's going to cut down on the number of people who are enrolled in the FSA plan without getting that fee, and it also will cut down on your having to retro some of those fees. So it's going to save work for everybody. All right. So I spoiled the big reveal, but our featured report this month is actually the FSA admin fee enrollment audit query. So this is a query that you can run in Cardinal. And I have put down the actual query name that you type in to the query page, the VBN FSA admin fee enroll audit, and you need those underscores. What this does is it identifies incorrect FSA admin fee enrollments. And it basically will show anybody who's missing the FSA administration fee who is enrolled in FSA, but then it also will show you people who are enrolled in the fee, but maybe they waived the FSA. So it goes both ways. It'll show you both ways, okay? Now we suggest The frequency of running this report or this query is twice a month. Now, if you perhaps have a different payroll cycle, I would just say run this query before your payroll cycle, because you want to make sure that if you do have somebody missing an FSA fee, you catch that before they actually get paid. Now, the resolution steps here is once you've identified the employees who are incorrectly enrolled, you just need to reopen that benefit event that enrolled them in the FSA, and you need to take the corrective action, which is you need to enroll them in the fee. Now, there's some job aids that we have put here for reopening an event if you need to learn how to do that, and also some information on how to run the query. But let me just, we'll just go over that really quickly. So right here in this first box, this is where you go to run a query viewer. And you can see here that I've typed into, there's a query name here that you put in. It begins with VBN. Now, if you are in the query viewer, you can type VBN and then just hit search, and all of your benefit queries are going to show up. And there's some out there for you to review, but this one in particular, this FSA admin fee enroll audit, can be run when you select whether to run it to the screen, which is HTML, or you can run it to Excel, which is my preferred way to run queries. And when you do that, you actually get this next page, which I put here at the bottom. This will show you there's an effective date that's needed. Now, for the purposes of this report, I probably would run it as of 7/1. And you can see the fields. So you have the employee ID, their employee record number, the name of the employee, the company, the pay group, HR status, department. You also have the healthcare enrollment information, their election, their plan, the dependent care enrollment election and plan, and the admin fee enrollment election and plan. Then we also threw in the email type so that if you do need to reach out to the employee to say, hey, you know, you didn't enroll in the fee, I just enrolled you, and by the way, I'm doubling up on your next paycheck because you missed a deduction. That email is right there waiting for you. Okay. So let's look and see what that actual query looks like in real life. Now, I've kind of broken up the lines because, you know, the screen is only so big, but you can see here that line number 3, which is what we're going to highlight here, is you can see I've grayed out the employee name and ID, but you can see the company, the department description. Here's their healthcare effective date, which is 6/25, and they are enrolled in FlexMed, right? And then if I go down here, you can see they've waived the administration fee. So, so this is why this person is on the plan. And you can see down below the next one, you can see here that the next person, they've waived healthcare, they have no D-care, but they're enrolled in the fee. So you can see what both of those things will look like on the audit fee. And so how do I change that? Well, let's quickly go in and we will get that changed. 1 second while I show the demo. Okay. So I ran this last night for this company, and we have Gail Gentry. And she is, let's see here, she is enrolled in Flex, in the Flex dependent care, but she's waived her admin fee. So let's just quickly go into Gail, and we'll see what's going on with her. What I want to do is go to the on-demand event maintenance page because I want to see what she's done. Is there a recent event that she's enrolled in? Most likely it's going to be her OE event because of the time of year it is, but it might, if it's a different time of the year, it might have been a birth event or a hire. So let's just quickly go in and see. So I'm going to go to, I'm already on the on-demand, but let's just for giggles, we'll go all the way to the front. So this is our base menu. I'm going to do benefits, manage automated enrollment, events, and then on demand. Okay. So here's Gail, and you can see here there's no open events for her, which is what I was expecting. This is an event that obviously has already been enrolled in. So I'm going to click on this event status update, and what that button does is it shows me all of her events. And as expected, there is no recent event for Gail. It's just her open enrollment event. So she actually enrolled during open enrollment in the the flexible dependent care account, but she didn't select the fee. So to reopen her event, and those of you who attended last month's forum, we went into detail on how to do that. And there's information in the presentation to point you to the right job aids if you don't know how, but this is how you do it. You go to the process field and you select re-enter. And then under event status, you select open. You scroll all the way down to the page and hit OK. That returns you to the on-demand event maintenance page, and you notice this button. I can't click it. It's because we haven't processed that request yet. We've said we want to open the event, but we need to reprocess it in order for that event to actually be open. So we're going to do that. And then once we've done that, you can see now I can click on the election entry button. And if I scroll down, I can see the flex spending fee is waived. I need to select that for Gail, hit OK, and hit validate and finalize. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go up to the summary, the benefit summary, just to make sure that she looks good. I'm going to go to do that. I'm going to click menu, benefits, review employee benefits, current benefit summary. I'm going to hit enter, and you can see now for Gail, I have all of her benefits listed here, including the flex spending admin fee. Now, given the date of today, right? It looks like Gail's probably having received her paycheck either today or tomorrow, is probably missing that first flex fee. So what I want to do is probably reach out to my payroll administrator so that she can double up on that fee next month. So, you know, it looks like she did in fact miss a deduction, but that's why it's so important to run this before payroll runs every month. That way you're catching these people before they're actually missing a deduction, so you don't have to double up.
So Jill, I'm going to ask you to pause there. We have a couple of questions that's come in about the FSA fee. Most of our BIN admins, I'm sure, read all the materials that we sent them during open enrollment and saw that we automatically elected the FSA fee during open enrollment. And it was something that was not systematic. You know, we had to do some creative stuff on the back end, but for those 2 weeks, we did it just because we had a massive number of people that were doing open enrollment elections. But after open enrollment ended, we were back to our process that's delivered in our system, is that we need those employees or their benefit administrators to apply the FSA fee for FSA. And that needs to continue going forward.
Yep.
Any clarification you want to provide there, or any additional details on why we did it during those 2 weeks and why we can't do it every day?
Well, there is one thing I do want to say. So Jolene's absolutely right. We did do that automatically. We ran a script every night, a SQL statement every night to update everybody's enrollment to include that flex spending. We ran it around 7 p.m. Each night, and you know, an enhancement request has been put in to actually have it be automatically done at the time of enrollment, and so we are going to be working on that and prioritizing that enhancement request to get that done.
Right, but we don't have any idea of when that'll happen. We've got a backlog of many other things. So it
exactly.
is based on other priorities.
Yep.
But in the meantime, in order for deductions not to stack up or anyone to be surprised a month or 2 or 3 months, we need the BAs to use this query.
Yep.
Run the query, as you said, before payroll,
Mhm.
and then make sure that you elect it. If not, you do need to work with your agency payroll administrator.
Yep. And another one thing to mention is that error message that we just talked about, where an employee is actually trying to enroll and it doesn't allow them to continue with the enrollment until they've selected the fee, should cut down on this. I'd say 90% of them will be addressed with that one enhancement that we've added. So we actually just did the demo. So we fixed that person. Now, just one quick thing. So if you are in a couple days running this query and you have problems, just keep in mind, if you have questions on policy or how to, OHB is going to answer those for you. They are taking a monitoring role, I would say, with this process. We're expecting the BAs to clean up their data, and they are going to monitor it on a monthly basis to make sure that folks are cleaning that stuff up so that we make sure that we have captured all those fees. So here's my favorite part of the presentation, the upcoming changes and enhancements. So I know we mentioned this last month. We are still working on it. The benefit summary page will be transformed this summer, and just a quick note on this. So when we looked at the person who we just fixed their flex fee, we looked at that in the benefit summary, and we were able to see that because we had made a change to their open enrollment election that was effective 7/1. Now, if she had had a birth or some sort of other event where she had made changes and those changes weren't effective until 8/1, when we went to that benefit summary page, it wouldn't have shown those changes because the current benefit summary at this point is literally the current benefits as of that day that you are looking. So this enhancement will add a date that you can put in. So I could put in, if I wanted to see someone's open enrollment elections for this year, I do 7/1. Throughout the years, as you go with Cardinal, you're going to be able to bring up every year's open enrollment election by just selecting the correct date here and hitting refresh. And if you need to see future dates, you can always select the future dated event, hit refresh, and it's going to show you the future dated benefits. So this is going to be something that is going to make BA's lives a little easier. You won't have to go to individual benefit pages to see future dated events. So we're looking forward to bringing you that change this summer. Another big change is we were currently getting VRS enrollment files to enroll folks in their retirement benefits on a monthly basis for the regular VRS retirees, and then mid-month we would receive a hybrid file for those changes for hybrid folks. We are now going to be receiving a daily enrollment file from VRS. So what that means for you is that folks who are in the retirement plan will get their enrollments in Cardinal much sooner. That's going to cut down on you all having to track whether it's there. It's going to cut down on tickets on our end, obviously, but more importantly, it's going to allow those employees to get their deductions as soon as possible, and that's what we're striving for here. So starting July 28th, Cardinal will receive a daily file from VRS with retirement enrollments for new hires and for folks making changes. Now you're going to get more information in a communication coming very soon about this change, but we wanted to just give you the heads up in this forum. All right.
All right, we have some excited people.
I bet you do.
online. So I just want to share.
Not
I
near-
think
yeah, not
people
nearly-
are cheering at their desks and
Yeah.
offices across the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Look,
All right.
All right, we're going to continue to answer the questions that we received from you. Thank you for all of those today, but we don't have anything else that we need to, chat about out loud at this point. In the meantime, we want to go back to the beginning of our presentation to talk a little bit more about why we brought you all here together. There was lots of great information, but the benefit event entry page rollout was really the whole purpose for this forum. And then we had a few other things that we wanted to tack on. So here's the rollout information. First, you are going to receive a communication on Monday, July 17th that will be sent out to all benefit administrators with instructions, resources, the recording for this forum. You'll also receive the deck again, and it will talk to you about how to use the benefit event enrollment or benefit event entry page. This new page, as Jill mentioned, replaces the life event tool, which is an Excel spreadsheet that many of you have been using for the last year plus. It will be removed from the Cardinal website. We encourage all of you to remove that document from your computer. The naming convention we've listed here, just in case you're not sure where that is. But we want to make sure that you stop using this Excel document. You need to use the page because you're going to find that you're not getting the information you need by using this tool. It will be old and stale. OHB will begin auditing data entry starting on August 1st. And Jill alluded to that a little bit associated with FSA, just another thing to be aware of. And then finally, access to the BAS activity table will be available until August 31st. Jill, do you want to add anything?
I just think, we don't think you're going to need to use the BAS activity table anymore to, accomplish what you need to do. We really want you to focus on the life event tool. But we don't want to remove access quite yet until we, have thoroughly vetted that you no longer really need to go there. So, if you do find yourself needing to go there for one reason or another, please, please reach out to us with a ticket. That way we'll know that you weren't able to do something on the life event tool that you needed to.
But you need to be prepared. If you're using it, it's going to go away at the end of August.
Yep.
So like Jill said, make sure you tell us so that we're aware and suddenly, you don't have access to something that you're using over the month of August. All right, let's go to the next slide and talk about additional support. This is the same slide we've given to you a couple of times, but if you're new, we talk a little bit about how to enter a Cardinal Help Desk ticket. That's to the VCCC email. Always include Cardinal in the subject line with a brief summary for routing. So depending on your issue, maybe it says, benefit enrollment question, or you get even more specific, something that is a summary that will help us route those tickets to the right people. In the email, provide as much information as you can. The functional area, the page, the actions you took, the error. The more information you can provide us, the better help that we can provide. And include your name, email address, and a phone number where you can be reached. On the bottom half of this, we alluded to earlier, if you do have questions about eligibility and dates, and you've already looked at the health benefits document that Sharon mentioned earlier, this is the email, fax, and phone number for OHB, as well as if you already have this presentation, there is an agency request for assistance form. If you are one of our TLC decentralized localities, as always, you'll use your TLC contacts to get additional assistance there. So that's all that we wanted to present to you today. I thank Jill for the excellent presentation and all the great information she provided. We appreciate your time and attention, and carve out a little bit of time on Monday to make sure to read the email that you will be receiving for us. Thank you so much, and we'll see you this fall for probably another session. We'll have more information forthcoming. Thanks again.